I think this is the green rock pathway. Yes, that is. That over there is an area we haven't discovered. Might as well grab it as we go along here. We, however, are just going to swing through the trees like a Miocene Tarzan. Just a little bit better because we don't need no stinking vines to swing around on the trees. We can just grab onto imaginary leaves. I suspect this area that we're heading to now to discover would be some kind of oasis. The last oasis in the woodland area before you start going into the more of a savanna environment. But there is supposed to be a little bit more of an open woodland before we hit the savanna. And I think this is the first spot you would then encounter some of the more plains animals. Not plain animals, but plains animals. So these aren't boring little simple boring animals. These are animals that occur on plains. This, right over here in this wet spot, there is mud for us. Now this is something that is amazing. If you do find it in the game, I would strongly recommend putting it on you, because this is going to, as you'll see now, apply a whole bunch of buffs. Which is useful. I think it does degrade a little bit faster in the rain, but it gives you protection against heat, gives you protection against bleeding, and it makes you slightly more invisible, so predators don't attack or see and attack you as easily. Which is very useful when you're going out into the more, especially into the more open environment, because in the savannah, we do have to worry about, not falling asleep, but have to worry about heat stroke, which is something that we are going to be facing in a moment. Now, we are just going to lie down on this flat rock, probably be attacked the moment we wake up, but that's just going to be a risk we are going to take. Unfortunately, we do have a serious water shortage, and we are nowhere near water. So our hominid over here is going to systematically die a little bit because of thirst. Now, I did drink before we left, but apparently he needs a lot of water. Oh, and food. I'm hoping that this is then, in fact, an oasis, because that'll mean that there will be water and food for us, so that we don't die completely. We'll find out soon enough. There's some berries here. That's going to be good, just to stop the food shortage that we have. Of course, we've got to conquer our fear once more, so I guess let's head in that general direction, which is where we want to go in any case. This does appear to be some kind of oasis. Nice big trees growing here, which will have some fruits along here. I'm guessing there would be some water right over there as well. Bash our babies and make our way over to that spot there. It does appear that those rocks are wet, which will mean that the water would accumulate at the bottom here. In any case, there are lots of berries here. That's also going to be a good source of water for us. And yes, this does appear to be an oasis, which would be the last oasis before you head into the savannah, I think. The Rocky Tarn Oasis. Huh. Interesting. A Tarn. Now, a Tarn lake is a specific lake that is formed, and I'm just... Now, I have to teach my students this in this coming semester as well. Now, a Tarn would be when you have a glacier. It's a glacial lake. Ooh, more meteorite. And look at what we have there. We've got Miocene horses. Now, the coloration of those horses would be based on the quagga, which was a subspecies or coloration of the plains zebra that we still have alive in Africa today. I'm just gonna, before we head to the water, I'm just gonna get this hominid over here to just stop complaining about life and thirst. Just by eating some berries. The water is right there. Doesn't want it. He wants water now. Okay, so we can finally make our way across to the water there. But a tarn, as I was saying, is formed when a glacier, as it expands and retreats, it does wash out a whole bunch of rocks from underneath the glacier. And in doing so, those rocks that get washed out will be pushed to the front of the glacier. And that can then form some kind of wall, basically. It's formed with what we call glacial moraine, which is rubbish pushed ahead by the glacier. And this rubbish here can actually come from far, far, far away from the area. It doesn't have to be really local. I mean, as far as large as the glacier is, that is how far the rocks can actually come. With the glacial moraine, accumulating in front of the glacier, eventually the glacier will melt. And that then leaves behind a bit of a wall made by glacial outwash, or the glacial moraine. And this is then called a Tarn lake. I'm not sure where this Tarn would be. I can't see anything in particular that gives me the idea that this is an area that has glacial moraine in presence. So I'm not sure. Maybe it is just a rock slide as well. Hey guys, we have got another location down below, which is where we are going to be heading to. We're just going to jump down here, spring from the leaves, and land safely on the ground, because we are amazing like that. Okay, one of our hominids has either intimidated the python or has stabbed it in the face. Because of course they did. We are all armed and semi-dangerous. Okay, let's just quickly have a look what we can find up ahead. What is this specific spot here? I think it's something to do with this waterfall up ahead. And then we are going to finally make our way towards the meteorite over there. I think today we're going to do this meteorite in front, the one in the woodland. And then next time we're probably going to head into the savanna. So we're going to get there soon. Seems just not today. Because things happened. I think this one over here, this spot is probably the safest spot to settle your hominids, because nothing can attack you down below. There's only one way in, or two ways in, the cave that we can technically come into, the deep enclave oasis, or jumping down from the top here. Nothing can get you otherwise. Which is, good. If you want a safe spot to have a bit of a settlement, this will be a good spot to do it. Are we not going to settle? Oh, look at the whole troop there on the rocks. We're not going to settle here. Instead, we are going to keep on moving. Because we like to move it. And we're just going to go for that spot over there, which is another one of the woodland locations. And then from there we're going to go over to the plume of smoke, which is the meteorite. Let's see what that spot is. But before we must first, of course, conquer our fear. Because it wouldn't be a traveling montage or traveling section without us having to do some kind of facing of fears. Now, there is one way, I believe, that you can actually prevent yourself from constantly having to do these conquering of fears. And that is to just constantly move your settlement forward. So if we had based at the deep enclave oasis that was at the back there, this area would automatically have formed part of our home range, and we wouldn't need to conquer our fear. And then as you get basically to the border of where your home range is, or from your settlement, just as you get to that point where you need to conquer your fear, you just go back a little bit and you put up another settlement, or you make a bed and settle, and then that would then expand your home range, which would mean that you don't have to ever conquer your fear. We've got something else that is new. Two things that are new to us. Oh, interesting. Okay. That Macaridus has gotten up and it's probably walking towards us. So we're just going to keep an eye on him. However, we have discovered this plant over here, which is a new source of food for us. It's awesome. Always good to get some food. I think this is some kind of Dioscorea. Yes, so Dioscoraceae radix. This is a yam, they call it. So Dioscorea is a genus of plants, obviously, and it's known as elephant's foot. In South Africa, in particular, we've got Dioscoraceae elephantipes, which is called elephant's foot. So this is a new food source that we are using, which is obviously good. And you can use the tubers. In this case, yam is a good type of food for our hominids to eat. It's a new root kind of food. Okay, so the black Macaridus has walked far away, which is good. Gives us a bit of space to work with. And quite starch rich. I do believe, however, you need to prepare the yam properly, which our hominids are definitely not doing. They are not preparing it at all. I think this isn't a type of food. Okay, I thought this was another type of berry, but it doesn't seem to be the case. But there is another plant over here, and I'm quite curious to see what it is. This seems to be some kind of ginger. Definitely some kind of rhizomatous plant. Ginseng or galangal or something along, or turmeric. Yes, there we go, turmeric. Ah, so Afra curcuma longa. Curcuma longa, I guess, would be turmeric, which does form these rhizomes underground, which is then bright yellow in color if you cut through it. And that is then what gives it that yellow color when you use the turmeric powder as a spice. Now, I'm looking for my stick, which I put down somewhere. Right over here. Blind as a bat, Will. Blind as a bat. Okay, so we're actually making our way towards that location over there. Then we are heading towards the meteorite. So we're encountering some more root vegetables that we can eat. Now this is something that we also will notice a little bit more as we head into the savanna. More of these root plants and succulent plants, like the aloes that we are going to encounter as well. That's because as it gets a little bit drier here, so this area, actually I would have expected a little bit more forest along the cliff face here, because moisture would come along in the air from that side over there. It wouldn't precipitate, it wouldn't actually rain on that side until the air gets pushed up against the mountainside over here. And as it gets pushed up, it would cool down. And as it cools down, it drops its rain, or the moisture that it contains, in the form of rain. So this area over here would actually have gotten a little bit more trees. And then behind it, there would again be what we call a rain shadow, which is an area that doesn't have rain because of, well, topography. So because of the air already having lost its moisture as it got pushed up against the mountainside here. But in any case, it can't be 100% accurate. It's very accurate at least. Okay, and that's, yeah, that whole tree full of fruit has just made that we can go and conquer our fear quite easily. Now, fear conquered again, expanded our home range again. Now, the thing is, as the air now gets pushed up along the mountainside here, it rains over here, this area would have more trees. It would be a wetter environment, more soil moisture. The plants wouldn't need to conserve water as much. As we go towards those meteorite sites over there, however, we are further away from the mountains, meaning that there's going to be less rain falling there because it's raining over here, not over there. And then as a result, the plants would need some kind of adaptation in order to conserve water, because without water, they die. Okay, some snake, python, I guess. Yeah, there's a python right over there. Yeah, okay, but he's running away from us. That's good. I kind of forgot that we are actually heading to the spot to find it over here, or to discover the location. But in any case, I got sidetracked with climate and vegetation and soil moisture and whatnot. It's something I will be speaking to my students about as well in this coming semester. How biomes are determined based on moisture, rainfall and stuff like that. So things like this area here, which is against the mountainside being a relatively wet environment, be able to, yes, we can discover. Looks like some kind of oasis again. The tunnel mouth oasis. I guess this is the entrance to some kind of, well, tunnel or cave system. We're not going to head in there. We are going to go towards the meteorite sites now. Alright, we have almost reached the meteorite. And on the way here, I did realize there was another one up in the mountains there. There's one we missed. So we'll have to go, at some point, we'll have to go in that direction. There's one up on the mountain, there's one in front of us here, and there is another one more in the savanna, right over there on that side as well, which we can then do with our next, well, after our next evolution leap. So, we've got the whole troop together here. So we're all looking at this together. And that means all the babies now will also get the mutation. Be useful as well. And then that does mean that we can do a generation leap next time, and we can then do the evolution leap as well, which means we'll be able to head into another, or become another species, most likely. The Carissa Clearings meteorite site. So the Carissa refers to these plants over here, known as Natal plums or Num Num. One of my favorite plants. Or favorite plants to eat. I'll be talking about that next time. For now, I'm just going to basically get that evolution feat as well. Let's just quickly build a nest. Way over there, we've got a new animal. They're running around in the background there. We're going to chase them next time. Those would be the Miocene horses. Now, they've got the coloration of the quagga, which is Equus quagga, which is a subspecies of the plains zebra, as I've mentioned. So, yeah, but we'll talk about that next time. So, we've gotten our new genes, our new mutations. So we're just going to drop these two babies as well. And drop these two babies as well. And that will then give us our 6 mutations. If we just look, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so there were 2 mutations already. There was that one already. But this means that we will have a mutation. Once we have done our generation leap, this will lead into, basically the ability to walk on 2 legs. So we've got the mutation needed to walk a little bit more on 2 legs. This mutation here, basically, I think that's going to allow us to remember one more location or something. This one will be something to do with food poisoning. Okay, good. Yeah, so we've got a whole bunch of mutations that will now become evident with this generation leap. So I've temporarily made Carissa Clearing our settlement, which means that we can now go into this basically into the generation leap area, and we'll be able to just quickly choose our reinforcement points. Basically just went for not dropping our items as easily, attacking better, and very importantly becoming more omnivorous by not suffering from ingesting mammal meat or eggs or mushrooms, and then also being able to scare away predators and other things more easily. So those are the reinforcement or the neuronal pathways I have reinforced. That means I'm going to skip a generation, which means that the mutations in our babies are now going to become part of the population. We're going to lose our elders. Our babies are going to grow up. Our adults are going to become elders, and we're going to not have babies at this point anymore. And that is then where we are going to end today's session. So thank you so much for joining me again. And next time we are going to go on a little bit more, hopefully evolve into Orrorin tugenensis, but we'll have to see about that as well. And we're also going to go into the savanna a little bit more next time. So join me next Friday for the next episode of An Ecologist Plays Ancestors, the Humankind Odyssey. Until then, stay safe. I will see you soon.